Woohoo! I have moved in. Mostly. I have a few more pieces of art to put up. I have some more stuff over there to put away in drawers, but I'm about 95% there. How do you like the new digs? The new background? Huh? The new angle? The new me? Okay, no, same old me. How do you like your new spot back there, bud? Well, today we're talking about the Otto stretcher, and I haven't brought these out in a while. I have a reason for doing it. I recently purchased his mini, the littlest one, mainly because I have so many 9x12 pads. So we'll talk about that. We're going to do a landscape, cloudscape, sunset. That way I can use lots of water, and we'll see how these things work. Really put them to the test. Coming right up. Well, hello, minders. Welcome back to the Mind of Watercolor. Well, today we're looking at the Otto stretcher. Now, this is a device that is designed to stretch watercolor paper. I have had two of these anyway for a number of years. I don't think I've ever shown them or mentioned them since the episode I did on paper stretching. Oh man, that goes back, what? 8 years at least. And the reason for that is I rarely ever stretch paper. First of all, before I go any further, just to let you know, I am not sponsored by Otto Stretcher. Otto, the gentleman that designed these and sells these, doesn't know me other than maybe, that he's had to ship them to me. So I'm not sponsored. I have not been provided with any product. I have purchased all of this. So this is my own honest look and review. So you may be saying, okay, well, Steve, why now? Why, after 8 years, have you decided to bring these out again and use them? Well, it's mainly because I was doing that piece, the architectural piece, in a few videos ago, and it warped so badly. And I thought, I do so much work on 9x12 pads. I have a number of 9x12 pads. These are not the blocks. It's either the single sheet tear off pads. I tend to work small. I have some 9x12 blocks also. But recently, when I did that piece, this one buckled badly. I can iron them afterwards, but I thought, maybe if I had a quick way to just take a 9x12 sheet and stretch it, that might be cool. Well, the two Otto stretchers I have are the half sheet version and the quarter sheet version. He also sells a full sheet version if you paint really large. I don't. So we're going to probably, not just this video, but in some others, we're probably going to do some testing. And I'm going to start using these maybe again. And I'm very likely to use this one. And by the way, this is taken apart. This is what he calls his mini. And I have the bars taken apart, and I'll show you all that in a minute. This is the 9x12. And so I'm very likely to use this one in the future because it takes a sheet from the 9x12 pad and fits it perfectly. Okay. So yeah, it's time to take a look at the Otto stretcher again. All right, for now, I'm going to put these big ones away. It uses, this is not foam core, this is actually like a gator board, which is much sturdier, stiffer, more robust than foam core. And these stretcher bars. Now I will go wet this and place it, but for now with just dry paper I wanted to show you how it works. You have these little devices here and you can see how the bar separates. It's essentially just a clamp, that's all it is. Very nicely designed, machined and cut. So I've placed this, and this actually is cut just slightly larger. Okay, I usually start by just hanging it off the edge, sort of roughly centering that. And I like to just start with a corner. If you're having trouble getting it on there, make sure you just loosen those. Once you get the corner on, it slides off on pretty easily. And I just check, make sure the paper is still centered, keeping in mind that your paper by this point is soaking wet. Get that centered. Spin these down until they grip. Do not tighten them, but just enough so that it grips the edge. You'll do the final tightening in a minute. Switch to the other side. Tighten it down so that it's snug but not tight. And just do the other sides. And these gaps are designed so those are not supposed to meet in case you get one and think they are. All right, we got them all on, and then I'll just go around and do a final tightening. But at this point, I'm going to go actually wet it and mount it, and then we'll come back to you after it's completely dry. By the way, these little wrenches are provided with the kit, with the set when you get one. let's do a little wrap up on the Otto stretcher. I'm pretty happy with it. There was a tiny bit of buckling in the paper after I thoroughly wet this. Not major peaks and valleys, but just a little bit of raising, you might say, in places. Similar to what you get with a block. I think this is a little better than a block in terms of using the stretcher. The key, though, is that it dries completely flat. I like that. Let me just quickly show you what I mean on the block. This is a watercolor block, which most vendors will claim that watercolor blocks are pre-stretched. They are to a degree, but they still buckle quite a lot. I did not get this much buckling using the Otto stretcher. And I think it would have improved even more if I had soaked it longer. That's quite a lot of buckling to me. Now I'm used to it. I've used blocks, and blocks tend to dry fairly flat, but not always, because depending on how wet you get your paper, this will happen. They'll come loose from the block. So I think maybe the Otto stretcher could be a little bit more reliable way of getting rid of a little bit more of the buckling. Now, one thing I'm going to experiment with, I didn't soak it very long. I soaked it for 5 minutes. I said I would do it for 15. I got impatient. 10 or 15 minutes is probably better. I'm going to experiment with that, see if it makes a difference. You want those fibers in the paper to fully expand so that when it's captured and dries, it shrinks and stretches the paper. Another thing, though, the stretcher bars, the Otto stretcher bars, would easily and quickly allow you to double stretch. I've double stretched before using tape and staples, and it's a pain in the butt because you're soaking your paper, you're taping and stapling it down, waiting for it to dry, taking all that up, re-soaking the paper. With the Otto stretcher, you can do that very easily. And a combined soak time between the two stretches, 10 minutes each, 20 minutes, especially if you're using Arch, which this is, you're not going to have a problem. I've never washed sizing out of Arch with a 20-minute soak. And I know some artists will stretch or soak Arch for a lot longer than that. So that's something I'll experiment with, is double soaking, see if I can improve it. But I was really pretty happy. I didn't get major buckling. Now just to point out, the stretcher bars do not prevent seepage. So when you might want to come in, once it's dry and stretched, you might want to come in with a thin line of tape just inside the bars. That's what I'm going to do next time. But I think this one will mat up real well. Maybe something like that. And it's going to lay perfectly flat in a frame. So I'm really happy. And you can decide whether the bars are something that you could use or whether you're just going to stick with blocks. Me, I've got a stack of tear-off pads like this. So getting the 9x12 stretcher bar, Otto stretchers, I think is going to be very useful for me. Thanks everyone. I appreciate you watching. Hope that answers some questions about the Otto stretcher. Patrons, I will do a full commentary for you on this painting. So look for that in the future. Thank everyone for watching. We'll see everybody in the next video. Bye-bye.